Hello no-coders! My name is Ronald. I help no-coders to transition from proprietary no-code tools to open source self-hostable tools. And in this video I'm going to talk about migrating from Airtable to either Baserow or Nocodb. I'm not going to show you all the features of Baserow and Nocodb and Airtable and if all of these features match up. What I'm going to do is I've got a small invoice system created in Airtable. I'm going to walk you through that, how I've set that up, and I'm going to recreate that same invoice system step by step in Baserow and in Nocodb. Here you can see what I've created in Airtable. So I've got a small invoice system. This is based on Garrett Pronovost, and it's one of his beginner tutorials on how to create this. Link is in the description if you want to understand this. I'm going to assume that you understand a little bit already about formulas, about linking some records, about what a lookup field is and what a rollup field is. And I'm just going to quickly walk you through. So here in full name I concatenate Ronald van der Weijden, my first name, my last name. I'm linking this to an invoice, and this is a lookup that looks up a rollup field to check out the total amount of the invoice. Now, when we go to services, you can see, okay, I've got service 1, 2, and 3. Let's call this hours. Let's call this package A and package B. All right. Now, in the invoice, you can see, doing this to myself as a client. I've got an invoice ID over here, and there are 2 line items. So I want to be able to say how many hours and how many of package A and how many of package B, and put all of that stuff on one invoice. For that reason, I've got over here line items. And you can see I've grouped this. I'll just turn off the grouping to make it a little bit easier. So what I've got over here is I'm saying, okay, this belongs to invoice 1001, both of these line items. There's hours and there's package A, and there's 1 hour, maybe 5 hours, and maybe only one of package A. Okay, so the price is changing. This should be 1250, and when we go back, 1250, and so on. And so this is the system that I've got, and this is what I'm going to recreate in both Baserow and Nocodb. So on the top left you can see Baserow, on the top right you can see Nocodb. I've both self-hosted them using Coolify very quickly. These are new instances, and when you have a fresh install of those two, you'll see this. Now let's create a database called Invoice System. So I'm going to do this in Baserow, add new. We have a few options. I'm going to go for database. And we've got Invoice System. It creates a table right away. It creates 2 records. It creates a single line, a multi-line, and an active boolean. And let's do that in Nocodb. And it does not create the table right away. So it did create the base, but not the table. And in order to create the table, I need to go over here and click Table. Call this Clients. And on the left side, I'm also going to rename this to Clients. And as you can see in Nocodb, we get only the single line text, no records, and no extra fields. Personally, I like this much more. It's much easier to just get started, and because I catch myself deleting the default fields all the time. This is pretty nice of Nocodb. Over here, I'm going to delete those 2 in Baserow. And let's start creating a first name and a last name and just concatenate those. Okay, so first in Baserow, it already creates a single line text. All right. First name. Last name. And let's do that here as well. Now, this is not pre-filling the single line text. Let's see what happens if I click create. It says text. All right. Last name. And let's fill it in. Ronald. I hit tab, and that all just works. Van der Weijden. If I hear it enter, it creates a new record, which is something I don't know if I like it or not. It could be actually pretty useful to just enter in a lot of data. In Baserow, if you want to if you add in a record and you want to add a new record, you need to do Shift Enter. In Airtable, that is, I believe, also Shift Enter. Yes. Just minor, small differences. All right. So now we got the first name, last name. Now we want to have a full name, right? To concatenate. So we go in Baserow, click Edit Field, say full name, click Formula, and just to show you over here how this looks like, I mean, concatenate and then with a little space in between, last name, right? So let's do that here as well. Let's say concat. Now, what I'm very used to in Airtable is I can just type in first name and I can hit enter and keep my hands on the keyboard. In Baserow, that is a little bit more difficult. So I need to remove this and use the mouse and click on first name, because it has this whole field and then this structure to link it with a field, where in Airtable you just have the purple thing over here. In Airtable you see the colors of the formula, which is pretty nice. In Baserow you don't see those. Now I know, okay, so it's comma. Yeah, personally I don't like it that they already start showing up all these errors right away, because I'm still thinking and it shows me an error and I'm like, okay. But okay, so I do this comma and then I say last name. Now I click here and I say save and I got my full name. Now let's do that in Nocodb. So we say edit field, click over here, and there's no formula. Now I do not fully understand why this is not happening, because I've been working in Nocodb before and I was able to just create a formula in the primary field. But after looking up some things, I think this is currently the way to do it. You need to create a new field, say formula, and then later on we're going to set this as the primary field. So it's small differences to get a little used to sometimes. So we are in the formula field. Now when we say concat, I can hit enter. It shows the colors, which is pretty nice. I'm going to do first name. Okay, it shows up first name. I have my hand still on the keyboard. I hit enter. I like this a lot. This is really good of Nocodb. It keeps the same, more or less the same structure of Airtable. It's slight differences. It's concat instead of concatenate. But I can keep my hands on the keyboard. Here as well, they show up right away, these errors. I'm not a huge fan of that, but okay. And when I do one of those high commas, it shows, it creates a 2, like a second one right away. It's pretty nice. I can do a spacebar now, do the other comma, the high comma, and then I say last name, I hit enter, and now I can just hit save field. Now, I like this a lot, that I can just keep my hands on the keyboard and create this whole thing, except for the full name. I still need to update the name there. And now the trick here is that I say, okay, I got this one, and now I say set as display value. And now this is the first one. Now I can delete this one. All right, next up, email field. Email Baserow, email, if already previous email, create Ronald at 360create.com. All right, let's go over here. Email. Here I have an option to accept only valid emails. I would always want valid emails, I think. I mean, I don't understand why I need to check this on, but okay. And it also creates email pre-filled in, so I don't need to type that in. That's nice. And I can type in my email address there. All right. Now, let's go to services in Airtable. We got hours, package A and package B. So let's create a new table in Baserow. Services, hit enter, done. Here, no, not create new view, but I need to go here. Yeah. and then say services, and yeah, over here delete field. So the first one is called name. Let's just call this service name. It's a better name actually. Alright, so got service name, so let's rename that. Single line text, alright. And here as well, edit field, update field. Let's say hours, package A, and now I hit enter and then it applies it, and now in Baserow I do shift enter, and then I can say package B to keep my hands on the keyboard. Then let's do that here as well. So package A. So here I can just hit enter and it goes to the next one without the shift. I just wanted to create 3 rows and I hit enter, but then it creates a 4th one and I don't want the 4th one, so I need to delete it now. So I'm not entirely sure what the shortcut would be to just create the row. Maybe just click out of it, I think. Package C. Ah yeah, just click out of it and you have it like that. So slightly different things to deal with. So let's create the cost of service. So in Airtable, this is a currency. Now in Baserow, when I look for currency, I do not find anything. That is because Baserow thinks slightly different. It's a number. And then I call this cost of service. And here they talk about prefix and suffix. So that means that I can put over here a euro sign. And I click create. And then I can say, okay, 150 euros, 500 euros, 2000 euros. And if I want to do with commas, like I have it in Airtable, I can say here the decimals like this, right? I'm gonna put this like this. I think it's more easy. Also going to change that in. Okay, I also changed it in Airtable. So 150, 500 and 2000 euros. Okay, now let's do that in Nocodb. So we search for currency and it has a currency field. By default it's set to USD. Set this to euro. I call this cost of service. Say field 150, 500, 2000. Clicking out. Now I'm gonna try looking this up in Nocodb, and when I say edit field, then I do not see anything like over here with the decimals. So I say show more, and I tried a few of those, but this doesn't seem to do anything. So I'm not sure what this is actually doing. So I cannot say 150 euros and that's it. I need to always have the euro cents there as well. Yeah, minus points. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to invoices. So we create a new table, Baserow invoice 001, 002, shift enter 003. Let's do this here. Oh. I keep making this mistake, create new view, and I'm like, okay, it's over here. Alright, invoices. Invoice ID 1001, 1002, 1003. And let's call this invoice ID as well. Now I'm just going to skip right away to the next table with the line items, because from the line items we're just going to bring it all back to the client with the total invoice amount. In Airtable we have a line item ID. This is basically a formula to concatenate invoice with services. So let's do that here as well. line item ID. But first I need to create those other fields. So, okay, so now we're going to start linking fields with each other. We're going to have the invoice link. So we say link to table invoice. Over here, invoices. It asks me if I want to create a related field in the link table, so also one in there. I think it's okay, yeah. And when we do the same over here, before we hit enter, links, instead of link to table, invoice. Here I have many to many, has many, or one to one. This took me some time to figure out, because they all act differently when you try to look up these type of fields. For now I'm going to go for one to one. And I'll say invoices and hit save field and here create. Okay, so let's look up our 1001 invoice. Here I click like this, click out of it and I have it. Let's see if I can just type 1001, yes, hit enter, it does it. So I don't know how to select this thing and keep my hands on the keyboard. I really need to click on it. And this is how I link the invoice. Now let's do that over here as well. I type 1001, nothing shows up. So maybe I need to enter, okay. 1001, hit enter. Okay, and it's there. Now escape, or yeah, escape. And I've got it linked. So I can keep my hands on the keyboard, bonus points here. Now we need to look up the services. So let's create another one. Link. One to one. Service. Save field. And here as well. Here we want hours, mouse, click out of it, done. Enter, hours, enter, escape, done. Shift enter, or enter. Okay. Yeah, so now I want to have a new row. And now I cannot create a new row because it's a linked field. And otherwise I would create a new one now. So I need to click here. Over here, let's copy this invoice, paste it over here. Paste operation is not supported. I think it's because it should have been a different one here. Now, I'm not able to change this anymore to has many or many to many. So I need to start over again. Link. Let's just do many to many. Invoices. Invoice 2. Many. Save field. Okay, so let's try this again. I'm gonna go over here, click 1001. It doesn't look it up, so now I need to take the mouse, link records, click on this green thing, and I got this one. Now let's do this over here as well. 1002, no, 1002, yes, click. And now, what am I doing, Ronald? Okay, I made a mistake over here. I want to clear it out. I hit delete, it doesn't delete it. So I need to click on it and unlink it by clicking on it. Now I need to click here again, link brackets. Here is where NoCoDB is losing me a little bit, because now I got 1001, but it doesn't show it anymore. So I need to click on each thing to see what it's linked to. And I'm like, this is not so nice. But I've got it now set up. So, okay, I need to remove this one. Invoice. Now let's do this in Baserow. So I already had my invoice. Now I'm going to copy, paste this, and it just works. So it's 10 times easier here. Points to Baserow. Now I'm going to do a different service. I'm going to do package A. Click on it, click out of it, done. And now I can do a quantity to it. Okay, so first the quantity. So there's a number field. All right, quantity. Hit here and say 5 and 1. Okay, do the same over here. Number, quantity, save field, 5 and 1. Oh yeah, and service here, I want to have package A. Okay, got it. Now, the idea here is that we are able to first look up the service, the cost of service, so how much are the hours and how much is package A. And after that, we're going to do the lookup, this 150 multiplied by 5, so that this total comes out. So let's do that. We do a lookup of the cost of service in Baserow. Lookup cost of service, cost of service. It remembers the euro sign that is in that field. That's nice. Create. So right now I've got 150 euros and 500 euros. And we can see that there's a little gray background to it. That means that it's a linked thing. And I believe NoCoDB is doing that with the blue background, but let's see right now. So go over here, say lookup, cost of service, cost of service, save field. And yeah, it's not the blue background, it's actually this little white background. But you can see that it's different from just a number field, right? That's something important to know, because based on that, sometimes certain things work or don't work. So now what we need to do is the line item total. What is happening here is quantity multiplied by cost of service. So let's do that. Formula. Line item total. Quantity multiplied by cost of service. Okay, create, and it works. And you can see again this special background. Let's do that over here as well. Formula, line item total, cost of service multiplied by quantity. Save field, and we got it. Nice. Now here it's showing up in euros, here it's showing up in euros, here it's showing up as a number. Let's see if we can do something about that. We can do formatting, format, currency, euro, update field. Okay. And we've got it. Now interestingly, this does not show a special background like it does over here while it is connected. So keep that in mind. Let's see what happens here. Now, before we get back to the invoice tab to roll up the total, 750 plus 500, I'm going to set the line item ID. So over here, I'll edit the field, just like in Baserow. Here, formula, line item ID, and in Baserow that is going to be invoice. Oh, it is going to be concat. invoice with a dash in between, comma, and then the service. Okay, save, and done. And we see again these light backgrounds. Now in NoCoDB, when we do this again, of course, it's not showing up the formula. So same problem as before. Need to cancel this out. Create a right, insert right, formula, concat. Do the invoice many, and then comma, and then the service, and then save field. And this doesn't work. Now, when I do the same thing with an invoice, if it's a single link, then it does concatenate, but when it has many, it doesn't. So this is where NoCoDB is kind of complex, in my opinion. That's something I really do not like. Because right now it says 1 hours, but it's taking the 1 of one invoice instead of 1001. It's just wrong. And now I need to really figure out like how to create another formula to concatenate the value of this first item. And okay, I'm still gonna try. Let's see. Insert right, formula, maybe a join formula. Let's see. I mean, if I just do concat invoices many, save field, I get 1. That's not supposed to happen. I'm supposed to get the value out of it. So this is where NoCoDB loses, in my opinion, on one important thing. Like this is, I mean, maybe I can figure it out. It might just take a lot of more time to figure out how this precisely works. Right now, I'm just going to type it over like this. And accept that, yeah, I cannot concatenate this for now. So delete this formula field, it's not necessary anymore. Because otherwise the formula field and set as primary field, but I cannot even get the value out of this because it's just saying 1 invoice. So yeah, maybe I'm doing something wrong, let me know in the comments, could be. Alright, so we got line items, line item ID, nicely in the formula in Baserow. Now I would like to concatenate the line items. So we've got 750 euros and 500 in invoice 1. So now we need to have the total of invoice 1, and that's 1250. So it needs to roll up in the invoices. So over here, I need to have a field that says the total amount. Like over here, 1250. So let's start doing that in Baserow. When we are in Baserow, then we say over here, roll up. And then we say line items. Then we say line item total. Roll up function sum. Put in the euro sign. Create. We click create. Now, this is giving me an error. As a type of array, but the only usable type for this argument is a list. Now these error codes, it took me some time to get a little bit more used to it. I find them still quite complicated how they are, but right now I know how to fix this one, and I'm going to show you. But before I'm going to do this, I'm going to do the same thing in NoCoDB. So let's go back to NoCoDB, and over here we say rollup. I'm going to say link fields, line items. You want the line item total. You want to sum this all up. Hit save. Okay, and it does it well. So that's nice, 1250. Invoice total. Enter. Now, can we make a euro sign here? No, we cannot. So, okay. we'll probably need to create a formula field to add the euro sign to it if we really care about that. But we got this rollup completed, so that's nice. Let's do this in Baserow. So, as I mentioned, when these things turn with this little light background, it means it's linked, it means it turns it into an array, so a list of things, instead of just a number, a currency that we can say, okay, 750 plus 500 euros is this. It looks at like some list, and then it cannot put them up to each other. Now, after looking through the forms, I figured that what we need to do over here, instead of a lookup field on the cost of service, we need to do a rollup already. So let me show you that. So I'm going to call this cost of service rollup. I'll say rollup. Then I say service, cost of service. And the rollup function, it can be max or min, it doesn't matter because there's only one value anyway. I'll say min and put in the euro sign here. Hit create. Now you see that right now we got 150 euros without this light background, and that's what we actually need to roll up later on in invoices. So I'll remove this one. And the line items total over here, I'll just change this to and now I've got the line item total without this light background. Now let's go back to the invoices again, do a rollup field, line items, cost of service, line item total, we still need the formula. Then rollup function sum, create. So it rolls up now here as well. Yeah, bonus points to NoCodeDB because it just worked there, even though it doesn't show the euro sign. But yeah, it is possible in Baserow as well. Alright, now the last step is to actually get this number back to the client so that we have the invoice total looking like it's very simple lookup. Do that, go to clients, link invoices, it could be invoices, create, yeah, sure. And then over here we say 1001. Let's do this over here as well. Link. Let's go for as many. I'm a little bit doubting whether I should do this one or that one. Invoices. Okay, got it. And now I need to look up the invoice total. So let's see. Look up invoices, invoice total with the euro sign. Call this invoice total. And there we go. Let's do that here as well. Look up invoices, invoice total, invoice total. Let's say field, and there we go. Now again, I cannot make this a euro sign, and here it's already a euro sign, so that's nice. To make that work, I'll need to create a new formula for this. Invoice total euros, concat. Concat, euro sign, comma, invoice total, save field. Alright, so now we have it with the euros, so it requires one extra field. Here's the Baserow the winner, just keeping that euro sign there. Alright, so that's it. I hope you've learned something. As you can see, it takes some time with both Baserow and Nocodb to get used to how they work, and that things are different in terms of like linking and all this stuff, and that sometimes you need to find some workaround to get the same result. Now, I think even though that is sometimes a little like annoying, it's still worth it because you own your data. I think that is way more important than how comfortable Airtable is to use. Yes, Airtable is still the most comfortable tool to use there, but yeah, it's the question up to you what your business is, what your use cases are, and how you want to grow in the future. And if you are going to plan to have millions of rows, or are you going to have more uses to it? So in the end, Baserow and Nocodb are going to definitely be much cheaper than Airtable when you know how to use them. There are certain things with Nocodb that the formula field cannot be primary, and then you need to create a new field and set that as the default value. And okay, Baserow has a little bit more complication with formulas. Need to understand sometimes a little bit with this linking that they have these special backgrounds that indicate, okay, it's an array instead of just a number field, and then you cannot just multiply it with each other. So okay, but once you get the hang of those things, they're going to be worth it in the long run. So yeah, I mean, I've been using Baserow already for more than a year, maybe 2 or so. Nocodb I have little experience with, so that might also be one of the reasons that I cannot figure out everything with Nocodb, but I have my workarounds with Baserow more. I'll stick myself to Baserow. I feel very comfortable there. But I do hope that you can make your own decision here, and that you understand, like, okay, this is what to pay attention to. If you need help to migrate from Airtable to either Nocodb or Baserow, let me know. I can help you with those things more personally. I have services for that, migration services to move over, to put these things in your own VPS or dedicated server, have the backups running, and know how to restore your data so that you always have a point to return to, and that you have the ownership to upgrade, to determine, like, okay, I want to have this new upgrade, or I do not want to have this new upgrade. Yeah, that's all the kind of stuff that I can help you with. And when you've got either Baserow or Nocodb set up, and you want to connect it to your front end, like in Web Studio, and create a dynamic web page to list out all your products and services and have all those things always in sync with each other, we can do all that kind of stuff. And that's where, like, all these open source alternatives start to compound on top of each other, because you have like an open source backend that you can understand. You will have a open source front end that can scale, and all these things, they can scale much bigger. Where in Webflow you would have maybe 10,000 items, in Web Studio you can have 1 million items, and it still runs. And that all based on some VPS that you have running there for a few euros a month. That's like incredible. And that is where the excitement comes, having your digital infrastructure on self-hosted on your own service. So if you need help with that, just let me know, and I'm more than happy to help you with that. Alright, so that's it for this video. Do not forget to click the like button, to subscribe, to hit a comment, to let me know if you understand everything, or if you disagree with something, or that you have a tip how to improve things. I'm more than happy to keep the discussion going. And yeah, see you in the next video. Alright, bye bye.